Jared, of course, we're still mourning the loss of cricket legend Shane Warne. Do we know any more details on his death?
Good morning. Yeah, it still certainly doesn't feel real, does it? Just 24 hours on from everybody, of course, finding out. We know that Thai police have spoke to Shane's three friends that he was over in Thailand with. Local police have ruled out any foul play in the situation. Officials from the Australian Embassy have been working with Thai police at the moment about exactly what happened and organising to bring Shane's body back to Australia. So that's where they're at the moment. We know the family's also been offered a state funeral in Victoria, and the Great Southern Centre, the MCG, will be named after Shane Warne. So yeah, a few developments there, but yeah, I think the main focus at the moment for officials is to get Shane's body back into Australia and back with his family.
Right. And I mean, we're 24 hours in after hearing the news pretty much, and the world continues to remember Shane. We saw that huge outpouring of tributes from when we were on air from yesterday, and that's just continued. Yeah,
it certainly has, right across the world. Politicians, former teammates, just people out in Australia have been talking about Shane Warne. I was at a furniture store yesterday and a man started talking to me about Shane Warne out of nowhere and saying he didn't like cricket, he didn't have any real feelings towards Shane Warne, but even he felt like Australia had lost part of its soul yesterday. So such is the impact that he's had across the country. But we do know now that Shane Warne's body will be moved from the Thai island of Samui across to the mainland, so an autopsy can be carried out. Australian officials and Warne's friends, they did, as I said, meet with Thai police to discuss the arrangements for his body to return home as soon as possible. Southeast Asia correspondent Zoe Ford has more from Koh Samui.
At the end of this long driveway is the private luxurious villa where Shane Warne had been staying before his death. There are security guards on the gate up there stopping people from coming too close, so locals have come to the bottom of the hill here to leave their tributes. You can see some Australian flags there, some local beer, a footy jersey and some flowers. Just goes to show that no matter where you go in the world, there is lots of love for Shane Warne. There's been some progress in the police investigation here on Koh Samui. Australian consular officials and even the Australian ambassador to Thailand himself, Alan McKinnon, have met with Royal Thai Police to discuss the investigation as well as the process for repatriating Shane Warne's body back to Australia. On Sunday, his body will be taken across to the mainland for an autopsy. Police have said that they can't really give us an idea of how long that process is likely to take, that will be up to the doctors. But they were able to give us a little bit more information about what they've learned during their inquiries so far after speaking to Shane Warne's friends. They said that recently Shane Warne had suffered from some chest pains and had gone to see a doctor about that, and that he had had asthma as well. After the meeting with the Royal Thai Police, Ambassador McKinnon spoke to the media and he said that he came to Koh Samui on behalf of the Warne family and Shane Warne's friends.
To thank Superintendent Yutana and his team here at the Wapun police station and the hospital in Koh Samui for facilitating this process and getting Shane Warne back to Australia as quickly as possible. They've been very compassionate, very efficient and very understanding.
Discussions between the Australian officials and the Royal Thai Police will continue as they move through that process to take Shane Warne's body back to Australia. And again, the Thai Police have been quick to stress that they do not believe his death was suspicious.
Zoe Ford in Thailand there. Meanwhile, the Australian cricket team says they're still coming to terms with the news of Shane Warne's death as they head into the third day in a historic test match in Pakistan today. Shane Warne's impact is being felt right across the South Asia region as cricketing icons continue to remember him as someone who supported generations of up-and-comers in the sport. Avni Dias reports from Rawalpindi in Pakistan.
The Australians have had a very tough second day on the field here in Rawalpindi in this historic test match against Pakistan. It's very clear that the news of Shane Warne's death is still really sinking in for a lot of these players. We heard from Australian player Marnus Labuschagne, who said that he felt very privileged on the second day of the test match to be playing some of that iconic spin bowling technique that Shane Warne is being remembered for around the world and within Australia. Marnus Labuschagne said that for a lot of the players, this has been a very difficult couple of days.
It was a bit of a, surreal. Obviously everyone deals with it in different ways. Some people like to, be alone and to think about those sort of things, and some people like to talk about it and be able to sort of hash it out and, talk about his great memories and what he has, done. He's given, so much to this game.
We're continuing to hear tributes flowing across the South Asia region, which is completely cricket obsessed, and we're hearing from locals just how much they loved watching Shane Warne. We've also heard from the Indian Premier League team, the Rajasthan Royals, which Shane Warne captained and led to a victory in the first year of the IPL, which has become a dominant force of cricket across the South Asia region. A lot of Australian players have continued to go on and play for teams in the IPL. And I've spoken to some of the players, some of the board members of the Rajasthan Royals, who've said that they are completely devastated by this loss, that they actually are struggling to even comprehend it at this stage. They're about to start a training camp, and they will also be holding a tribute on behalf of Shane Warne in coming days. And this just goes to show that, of course, Warne was so well loved in Australia, but he's made such a huge impact in this South Asia region as well.